Howdy, I am Buster, your host, coming to you from deep in the heart of Texas. Welcome to my channel. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, The Zion People Project. Let's get into this. The Zion People Project is a 33-year labor of love for me. It's something that I last worked on in 2017, but it's something that started in May of 1992. Actually, it started a year before that. Um, yeah, I had found myself. I was 30 years old at the time, and I had found myself on a deep query for I don't know, um, trying to find out if there was maybe a hidden life mission that I needed to discover or to involve myself in. Um, I don't know if you've ever went through times in your life like that where you felt like you're being spurred to look a little bit deeper, a little bit inside, get outside of your routine. That maybe there are things that you committed to in your premortal existence that you wanted to accomplish in life, and maybe you hadn't, just because you haven't slowed down and taken the time to look inside, you hadn't discovered it. And so, for about a year, I had went through this process of of research and thinking and contemplating. And in May of 1992, I felt like I had found the answer wrong. That's the way it usually is, right? You spend a year thinking and you're clueless and you think you know what it is. But I think what it was is that I was in a place. I had reached a conclusion. I had an idea of what it is that my life mission was. I felt like it was around a business venture that I wanted to participate in, and it would benefit my family financially, and all these things that I felt like, it was my professional life and where I thought my professional life needed to go. And but I was in a position where I was ready to hear, after I had done my work and brought a solution to the Lord. I was ready to hear the Lord, and I felt like I had, because I had spent a lot of time fasting and prayer. I felt like I was in the position to receive confirmation, right? Not I wasn't expecting that there would be a different answer than a confirmation to what I had invested my time researching over the course of that year. And so in May 1992, as I prayed, the Lord posed a simple question to me, which said, Craig, why do communities fail? And which sort of caught me off guard. It's like, why do communities fail? And I was going to go and give a quick answer based upon all of my life experience at the time, um, which I felt like I had some insight. I had come from a family that had failed. Um, I had lived in difficult situations throughout my life. I had spent some time thinking about the contributing factors and how those things had influenced my life, and so I had an idea of why communities failed. I was going to give my off the cuff answer, but that's not what the Lord was looking for. He was he was looking for a little bit deeper of a search, and that sent me on a journey that's now lasted 33 years. And now on this journey, as I've sought to ask that question, I've done many projects. I've done thousands of hours of research, and I've come up with multiple different ideas that have went by different titles over the time. over time. But everything that I've learned and everything that I've studied has led me to a central conclusion, and the Design People Project is about that conclusion. Over the course of the years, I've had more starts and more stops, and Planners has peanuts, that's for sure. And every time I went down a road that I thought it was leading me to a particular destination, that destination is usually ended at a cliff where I couldn't move forward any further than what I had moved towards at that time. And I've had to stop. I've had many stops. In those stops, I've had lots of reflection. There's many lessons that I needed to learn. Most of those lessons were personal, about things within me that I needed to address, and things within me that I needed to fix, things that within me that I needed to improve upon, and so that I could better understand some of the principles that the Lord was trying to teach me. Um, and From 2014 to 2017, I was heavily engaged on the last project that I had worked on in relationship to this initial revelation, and I spent a lot of time and uh, significant monies, especially significant for me at the time because I wasn't in a great financial situation, but I had invested significantly financially to try and bring this idea to market. And I arrived at a point in 2017 where I couldn't move forward with it. And I was late in my work professional life, and I was having a difficult time finding traction with with an aging professional, where someone would want an aging professional like me. And so I felt like this particular thing was the answer at the time. It's I had found myself out of the professional workforce into working jobs I needed to work just to survive, and I had my resume out and fresh all the time, and I just wasn't getting any traction. So I worked these jobs that really weren't leading me anyplace, and I had worked on this every day, every night until the late hours of the evening, thinking that this would be the solution at this time in my life. That this was I was going to finally be able to go and do this thing full time, and it wasn't meant to be at the time. I had reached an end. It was as if I was standing on the precipice of a great canyon, looking out, and the vision of what I had or what I was going towards was across this vast canyon. There was no bridge. There was no way for me to get it. And it was almost as if when I looked at it, it was taunting me, but there was no way that I could get there. It was yet another dead end in this thing that, again, at the time was 26 years. Now it's 33 years, 7 years later since that had taken place, and I was totally defeated. I I wept. I wept because I felt like that was the time, and it's like um, there's a long story that leads up to where I was at this time, but where I had hit many dead ends, and this was just another one. And it's just like, will there ever be a time in my life where I will be able to walk a road and it will end where I perceive that it's supposed to end? And I was feeling a little bit hopeless in that moment. It felt like the door was being permanently shut, and as I have come to find out with this particular project, especially, that usually a dead end does not mean it's over, but a dead end is usually a pause for me to learn things that I needed to learn. And then, um, and then there's another time in my life where these things come back in, and I'm supposed to invest more time in it. And such was the case in January of this year as I was prepping to put this channel back into action. I felt impressed to pull out and to knock the dust off of this work that I had thrown in a into an e-file. I have boxes of other non-electronic documents and sources that I collected. But anyway, to metaphorically knock the dust off the project and to open another chapter. Now, I'm not going to get fully into um, that chapter. I'm not going to get fully into the Zion People Project today. That's going to be a whole separate series on itself. But I wanted to focus upon this concept that often when we follow revelation, the Lord has a destiny in mind for us, and that our destiny that we perceive that is involved and His are not always the same. And that often, if we are faithful and we are obedient, that if we will walk the paths that the Lord wants us to walk, if He chooses to shut the door, He will generally open another door in its place. And it doesn't mean that the next door He opens is going to be um, any less scary. Um, it may not mean that it's more inviting, but He will generally open another door. If you're wanting to be faithful and obedient, um, He will do that for you. But you have to understand that the Lord's mission is to create celestial beings, and celestial beings grow through trial and tribulation, and they walk through the fiery furnace of affliction often to develop the spiritual traits and characteristics that will enable them to enter back into the presence of Christ. And when they do, they'll find that they are like Him. I testify to you that Jesus Christ is involved in my life. He's involved in this effort. I invite you that as I go forth and continue to produce content for this channel, I invite you to, number one, come along with me for the ride. Number two, have the courage to share your stories and your witness, especially those ones that are common to the videos that I'm relaying at the time. You never know when your witness and your testimony, your personal experience will impact and touch another's life and change the course of their life. Hopefully, there will be something that I say in the course of my videos to you that will touch your life and transform the way you look at Christ and transform the way you see yourself, and that you'll have greater confidence in the revelations that you receive to guide, direct, and govern your life. At least that's my hope and that's my prayer um, as I move forward. And that's all I have for today. I thank you for stopping by. I hope to see you all down the road. Until then, y'all take care. Bye.